The story Thanos Wins focuses on the Mad Titan, Thanos achieving total domination by eradicating nearly all life in the universe in an attempt to gain the favor of Mistress Death, the cosmic entity embodying death itself. The events unfold in a future timeline called Earth TRN 666, a grim alternate extension of the main Marvel universe. In this timeline, Thanos has annihilated almost every living being, leaving himself as the uncontested ruler at the end of time. His power is so overwhelming that even Bruce Banner, the Hulk, is reduced to a mindless servant, chained at Thanos' feet. Despite his total conquest, Thanos remains dissatisfied and seeks to finally reunite with Mistress Death. To achieve this, he enlists the aid of a cosmic-powered Ghost Rider and a fractured piece of the Time Stone to summon his younger self. His request is for this past version to kill him, ending his reign. However, the young Thanos is horrified by the devastation he witnesses. Rather than obeying the future Thanos, he refuses the request and returns to his own time, vowing never to become the broken and desperate figure he encountered. Before his story concludes, one final opponent arises. The Fallen One, a future incarnation of the Silver Surfer now wielding Thor's enchanted hammer, Mjolnir. Their confrontation is intense, but the defining element of Thanos Wins lies not in the battle itself, but in the ironic revelation that even absolute victory cannot provide true satisfaction. While visually striking and narratively intense, Thanos Wins revisits themes explored in previous Marvel stories depicting post-apocalyptic, villain-dominated futures, such as Marvel Zombies and Old Man Logan. Its storyline serves as a high-stakes what-if scenario rather than a major expansion of Marvel's cosmic canon. In the Marvel Universe, few adversaries are as relentless and power-driven as Apocalypse, a nearly immortal mutant whose philosophy of survival of the fittest drives him to extreme measures. His dominance is central to Age of Apocalypse, a storyline triggered when David Haller, the mutant known as Legion, and the unstable son of Professor Charles Xavier, attempts to alter history. Legion travels back in time with the intent to kill Magneto before he becomes a threat. However, the plan fails. Legion arrives when Magneto and Xavier are still allies, and during the confrontation, Xavier sacrifices himself to save Magneto. Legion disappears, and this creates a new timeline, with only the time-traveling mutant Bishop aware that history has been rewritten. In Xavier's absence, Magneto embraces the dream of peaceful coexistence between humans and mutants, but Apocalypse seizes this altered moment to launch his conquest 10 years earlier than originally intended. Magneto forms a new X-Men team in a desperate effort to resist, yet Apocalypse proves unstoppable. His forces overrun North America, elevating mutants as the ruling class, while humans face extermination or enslavement. His genocidal campaign, known as the Cullings, eliminates millions and systematically targets all telepaths and time travelers to prevent any reversal of events. The altered timeline also destabilizes the Macron crystal, creating a catastrophic threat to the entire universe. Age of Apocalypse occurs in the alternate universe Earth 295, the unintended result of Legion's actions, but its impact is significant within Marvel's narrative. In this reality, Apocalypse achieves his full vision. Humanity is nearly destroyed, the planet is divided, and he governs North America with absolute control while surviving humans cling to life under the Human High Council. Eventually, Bishop restores the original timeline, but Earth 295 persists within Marvel's lore, reappearing whenever the universe revisits this dystopian scenario. Dark Knight's Death Metal is a DC Comics event that ran from 2020 to 2021. The storyline unfolds in a high-stakes, universe-spanning scenario where the Batman Who Laughs seizes control of Prime Earth with the aid of Perpetua, the cosmic entity responsible for the creation of the DC multiverse. Under his rule, reality is transformed into the Metalverse, a nightmarish dimension in which Gotham City has expanded into a continent-sized wasteland dominated by Joker dragons. Superman is imprisoned on New Apocalypse to serve as a power source, and the Arkham wastelands remain contaminated following Captain Atom's catastrophic explosion. The climactic confrontation centers on Wonder Woman, now armored in golden battle gear, as she faces the Darkest Knight, the ultimate evolved form of the Batman Who Laughs. Their fight transcends time and space, reaching the moment of creation, where the Darkest Knight reveals that Perpetua's cosmic hands, entities tasked with overseeing universal order, plan to annihilate existence entirely. He offers Diana a choice: continue the battle at the risk of total destruction, or ally with him to eliminate the hands and remake reality. Diana refuses to surrender and propels him through time into the collapsing embers of Earth's dying sun. Back on Earth, the battle intensifies. Batman resurrects allies and enemies alike to confront the Robin King, while Lex Luthor sacrifices himself to save Superman from the monstrous last sun. Bizarre resurrected figures, including B-Rex and Bader, join the conflict. Ultimately, Diana casts the Darkest Knight into an enormous red sun, destroying him. She awakens in a white void where a cosmic hand manifests as her Golden Age counterpart. This entity informs her that her defiance has persuaded the cosmic overseers to restore the multiverse, integrating all past events and stories into a boundless new reality. Diana ascends to a higher plane to monitor potential future threats. In the aftermath, Earth celebrates within the Hall of Justice as heroes and villains alike witness the restoration of the multiverse, now elevated into an omniverse, a limitless expanse of possibilities where Prime Earth no longer occupies a central position. The storyline concludes the Dark Multiverse saga with expansive, chaotic energy, uniting past events while introducing a new era of infinite potential across DC's multiversal landscape. Final Crisis is a 2008 DC Comics crossover that primarily unfolds in a 7-issue miniseries, presenting a cosmic-scale catastrophe in which Darkseid enacts his ultimate plan to overthrow reality, corrupting heroes, villains, and even the fundamental structure of the multiverse. The story begins with a paradox. Darkseid dies, yet his power is so immense that his spirit begins dragging the entire multiverse backward through time. Alongside him, the souls of his most loyal followers, including Granny Goodness, Glorious Godfrey, and Desaad, are reincarnated on Earth. Seizing the moment, Darkseid kills his own son Orion and fully acquires the anti-life equation, a cosmic formula capable of subjugating all living beings to his will. With Superman temporarily off-world while attempting to save Lois Lane, Darkseid initiates a multifaceted assault. He frames Hal Jordan for an attempted murder of Jon Stewart, captures Batman with the intent of cloning an obedient army of Batmen, and gradually corrupts Dan Turpin's body to serve as his new physical vessel. Batman, however, escapes and retrieves a critical bullet, the same god-killing projectile that Darkseid had used to slay Orion. In a final act of defiance, Batman shoots Darkseid, gravely wounding him. Before succumbing, Darkseid unleashes his Omega Sanction, seemingly erasing Batman from existence. Even as his physical form fails, Darkseid's influence persists, dragging the fabric of time and space toward a cosmic black hole. At this critical moment, Barry Allen and Wally West, the Flashes, outrun the Black Flash, a Reaper-like entity of the Speed Force, and lead it directly to Darkseid. Yet even death cannot fully extinguish him. As Dan Turpin's body dies, Darkseid's soul continues its apocalyptic descent, threatening the entire multiverse. The return of Superman becomes pivotal. Having journeyed across time and dimensions, he brings knowledge of the Miracle Machine, a device capable of reshaping reality using solar energy stored within him. Activating the Miracle Machine with a single word, Superman halts Darkseid's downward spiral, saving the multiverse from immediate destruction. Before restoration can be completed, a new threat arises. The Monitors, cosmic beings assigned to observe the multiverse, reveal their true nature. They feed on its energy. The most powerful Monitor mutates into Mandrak, a monstrous, vampire-like entity intent on consuming all existence. Defeating Mandrak requires the combined forces of heroes across multiple universes and the aid of the noble Monitor Dax Novu. With Mandrak destroyed, the Miracle Machine reboots the multiverse, this time purged of Darkseid's lingering corruption and ensuring the survival and continuity of existence. Old Man Logan is a storyline from Wolverine Volume 3, spanning issues number 66 to 72, and concluding with Wolverine, Old Man Logan, Giant Size number 1. Set decades after the collapse of the superhero community, the United States has been overtaken and divided among supervillains. The Red Skull rules as self-proclaimed president, displaying trophies from fallen heroes. His reign ends violently when Logan, wielding Captain America's shield, decapitates him. 50 years earlier, Logan was at the X-Mansion when a massive explosion killed Jubilee and X-Men villains invaded. Enraged, Logan slaughtered what he believed were the attackers, only to discover the massacre was an illusion crafted by Mysterio. The victims were actually his teammates. Devastated, Logan abandoned his past, vowing never to use his claws. Now living in Hooland, formerly Sacramento, California, Logan maintains a quiet life with his wife, Maureen, and their children, Scotty and Jade. Survival depends on paying rent to the inbred descendants of Bruce Banner and She-Hulk, who control the land. To make ends meet, Logan accepts a job from an aging blind Hawkeye, escort him across the ruined country to deliver a mysterious package. Their journey takes them through territories ruled by villains such as the new Kingpin, Dr. Doom, and the Red Skull. Upon reaching New Babylon, Hawkeye's cargo, a super soldier serum intended to spark a resistance, is revealed as a trap. Hawkeye is executed, and Logan is captured. In a moment of brutal clarity, Logan abandons his pacifist vow. Using Captain America's shield, he decapitates the Red Skull and escapes in Iron Man's armor. Returning home with the reward money, he finds his family slaughtered by the Hulk gang. Consumed by vengeance, Logan unsheathes his claws for the first time in 50 years, systematically eliminating the Hulk's inbred offspring before confronting Bruce Banner himself. Though Logan initially struggles against Banner, when he lands a strike, Banner transforms into the Hulk and swallows him whole. Over time, Logan fully regenerates inside Banner, killing him from within. The story concludes with Logan riding into the wasteland accompanied by Bruce Banner Jr., the last surviving child of Banner, suggesting the start of a new chapter in his journey. Old Man Logan remains one of the most influential and acclaimed X-Men storylines of the past 2 decades, inspiring multiple spin-offs including Old Man Hawkeye and Old Man Quill. Emperor Joker is a DC Comics crossover event from the early 2000s, depicting the Joker, Gotham City's clown prince of crime, ascending to godhood. He achieves this by deceiving Mr. a reality-warping imp, into granting him nearly all of powers. With this omnipotence, Joker reshapes the universe according to his twisted vision, establishing himself as the supreme ruler. In this reality, Batman is trapped in an endless cycle of torment, killed and resurrected daily for Joker's amusement. Joker's obsession with Batman ultimately undermines his control, providing Superman with the opportunity to challenge him. Joker's unlimited power allows him to radically alter the lives of heroes and civilians alike. Superman is framed as a murderer of Lex Luthor and confined to Arkham Asylum, repeatedly escaping only to be subdued by Bizarro. Lois Lane becomes a ruthless corporate mogul, Steel is imprisoned for excessive rationality, Supergirl becomes a nun, and Superboy is forced to flip burgers under Guardian supervision. Even Jimmy Olsen is transformed into Gravedigger Lad, a devoted follower of Joker's reign. Resistance emerges as Superman begins regaining his memories, helping some allies break free from their altered states. The struggle is violent and unpredictable. Friends are killed, revived, or transformed into animals. Lois Lane, despite her connection to Superman, betrays him and assumes the role of Joker's Empress. Through relentless determination, Superman refuses to succumb to Joker's manipulations, even when forced to relive visions of loss and chaos. The turning point comes when Superman identifies Joker's critical weakness, his inability to fully control the powers he stole. Using this insight, Superman tricks Joker into relinquishing his godlike abilities. Mr. and the Spectre then restore reality, erasing Joker's chaotic dominion. Once order is reinstated, only Superman retains the memory of the events, serving as a lasting reminder of how close the world came to annihilation under Joker's absolute power. Knightfall is a 1993 DC Comics story arc that explores the physical and psychological collapse of Bruce Wayne, the Dark Knight, at the hands of Bane, a new and methodical villain. Bane orchestrates a calculated plan to break Batman by targeting both his body and mind, ultimately leading to Bruce's temporary defeat and the rise of John Paul Valley, also known as Azrael, as Gotham's new protector. Azrael's aggressive and unstable methods soon tarnish Batman's legacy, forcing Bruce to reclaim his mantle after an intense recovery. The storyline begins with Bane launching a strategic assault on Gotham by releasing all the dangerous inmates of Arkham Asylum, overwhelming Batman with a relentless wave of crime. Batman faces numerous adversaries during this chaos, including the Joker, Scarecrow, the Riddler, Poison Ivy, and others. Despite assistance from Robin, Batman's endurance is steadily eroded. While attempting to rescue from the combined forces of Joker and Scarecrow, he is exposed to Scarecrow's fear toxin, forcing him to relive the traumatic death of Jason Todd, which further debilitates him. Bane, having deduced Bruce Wayne's secret identity, confronts him in the Batcave, as depicted in Batman number 497. Their confrontation culminates in Bane mercilessly beating Bruce and breaking his spine over his knee, then throwing him from a rooftop to assert control over Gotham. Although Bruce survives due to the intervention of Robin and Alfred, he is left paralyzed. With Batman incapacitated, Bane assumes control of Gotham's criminal underworld. Bruce appoints John Paul Valley as his temporary successor, but Azrael's brutal and violent tactics alienate allies and damage Batman's reputation. After undergoing a rigorous recovery, including the use of paranormal assistance, Bruce returns to reclaim his mantle. He confronts and defeats both Bane and Azrael, restoring his role as Gotham's protector and ending the period of chaos caused by their reigns. Dark Reign is a 2008 to 2009 Marvel Comics storyline that takes place in the aftermath of the Secret Invasion, when the alien Skrulls' attack leaves Earth in turmoil. The resulting chaos shifts the balance of power across the Marvel Universe, allowing Norman Osborn, a longtime Spider-Man adversary and master manipulator, to rise to prominence. Leveraging his newfound influence, Osborn dismantles S.H.I.E.L.D. and replaces it with Hammer, establishing control over global security. He assembles a team of villains masquerading as heroes under the guise of the Avengers, consolidating his power for nearly a year while presenting himself publicly as the heroic Iron Patriot. Osborn's ambitions extend beyond bureaucratic authority. He forms a secret alliance called the Cabal, composed of Dr. Doom, Emma Frost, Namor, Loki, and the Hood, each seeking to exploit his influence for personal gain. As his oppressive rule intensifies, both heroes and villains begin plotting to end his dominance. This effort culminates in a climactic confrontation when Osborn, defying orders from the President of the United States, launches an ill-fated assault on Asgard. The failed attack leads to his public humiliation, loss of power, and eventual mental collapse, marking the end of his reign over the Marvel Universe. Future's End is an 11-month weekly miniseries published by DC Comics from May 2014 to April 2015, set 5 years into the future of the New 52 timeline. In this bleak future, Brother Eye, a sentient satellite, seizes global control by transforming many superheroes into grotesque cyborg insect hybrids. The story begins 35 years into the future, where Brother Eye's dominion has nearly annihilated humanity, leaving only a small resistance. In a final attempt to prevent this dystopia, Bruce Wayne constructs a time machine to travel back and stop Brother Eye's rise. Unforeseen circumstances prevent Bruce from completing the journey, so his successor, Terry McGinnis, takes his place. Terry arrives in the year 2025, 5 years too late to halt Brother Eye's initial ascension, by which point the villain's influence is already spreading. Mr. Terrific is developing the technology that will enable Brother Eye's domination. The world is further destabilized by the arrival of refugees from Earth-2, who are relentlessly pursued by the forces of Apocalypse. These interdimensional survivors face attacks from both Earth's heroes and human authorities, creating divisions among defenders. Mr. Terrific devises technology to detect Earth-2 aliens, and key figures, including King Faraday, Grifter, and Deathstroke, assist in imprisoning the refugees on Cadmus Island. The presumed dead Green Arrow and his Earth-2 counterpart, Red Arrow, lead a daring rescue to free the captives. Meanwhile, Superman adopts a darker persona, hiding his identity behind a full-face mask, while Lois Lane discovers that Shazam has been posing as Superman during Clark Kent's absence. When Clark returns to Earth, he warns of an impending Brainiac invasion. It is revealed that Brainiac manipulated Mr. Terrific to create the technology that enabled Brother Eye's rise, intending to capture New York City as part of his galactic collection of civilizations. Superman, Mr. Terrific, the Atom, and Firestorm ultimately defeat Brainiac by shrinking and trapping him. Terry McGinnis teams up with a retired Tim Drake to stop Brother Eye, but his actions unintentionally accelerate the villain's technological apocalypse. Terry sacrifices himself in the battle, after which Tim dons Terry's batsuit and travels back in time 5 years. He convinces Brother Eye to ignore Earth-2's distress signal, preventing the refugees from ever arriving on Prime Earth. Although the New 52 timeline has since been abandoned, Future's End remains a striking and disturbing storyline, portraying a world dominated by technology and villainy and leaving a lasting impression as one of DC's uniquely dark crossover events. Forever Evil is a 2013 to 2014 DC Comics crossover miniseries that follows the events of Trinity War and centers on the villains of the DC universe. In this storyline, the Crime Syndicate, a group of powerful villains from an alternate Earth, seizes control of Earth, believing their combined strength makes them unstoppable. However, they underestimate two of the greatest strategic minds in the DC universe, Lex Luthor and Bruce Wayne. Both remain free and begin to plot against the invaders, using their intelligence and tactical skill to counter the Syndicate's dominance. As the Crime Syndicate's rule unfolds, their overconfidence leads to critical errors. Lex Luthor forms his own version of the Injustice League, assembling a team of villains who work to undermine and ultimately defeat the Syndicate. Through careful planning, deception, and coordination, Luthor and Wayne orchestrate the downfall of the invaders. In the aftermath, the Crime Syndicate is vanquished, and Luthor's team of reformed villains emerges as a new force for global stability, effectively transitioning from outlaws to heroes in the eyes of the world.